Hi everyone, it's Nicole here, the Harmonious Hippy. Today's video is going to be a specific video for when you have sprained your ankle. I shared that I have recently just done the same thing, so mine's been healing quite well, so I'm going to shoot this video for you guys. All you need is your yoga mat. If you have any props that you would like with you, just for padding, I have my little knee pad with me in case I do bring my foot forward. But otherwise it's going to be mainly seated. We are going to start standing and just do a couple of strengthening poses, but otherwise we will mostly be seated. I've also brought some ice with me for my Shavasana, so you can go ahead and do that as well. I would also like to just put out a quick disclaimer that, as you guys know, I'm not a medical professional. These are rehab moves that I've researched, and things that also feel good for me in my current position of healing that I'm at with the current injury that I have. So please do, as always, as every video, honor your body. Make sure that if something is hurting too much, you move away from that. Especially if there is any breakage, if you did break anything, that it's not recommended to be on the ankle and moving it and that kind of thing. This is specifically for a sprained ankle. I didn't tear any ligaments or anything like that, and the swelling has gone down quite a bit to the point where I'm almost able to walk normal now. So that's not to say that if it's still considerably more swollen for you that you can't. I would just always suggest that you check with your doctor or your physiotherapist before you begin anything that involves an injury at all. So please take it easy on yourself, be careful, and otherwise we are going to start standing. So grab anything that you want with you and let's get started. Okay guys, so just starting off standing, we're going to do a couple of strengthening and balancing moves. Again, if this is uncomfortable for you, please don't do it. For myself, you probably can't really tell which one of my ankles was the one that I got. I don't know if you can see it from there, but I do still have quite a bit of bruising along here, but it's not sore. I only have one sore spot kind of on the top. So just check where you're at. Some of the moves may feel great for you, some of them may feel awful, so do what feels good. Period. That's it. So also balance-wise, it's really good to work the little muscles and stuff that help with your balance when you have sprained your ankle. If you feel like you really don't have good balance, you can hold on to something, come up to a wall, maybe stand in a doorway in your home, bring a chair over. Any of those things work well. You'll make sure you're not falling and re-injuring yourself. So we in yoga, as I'm sure you guys know, we will always do to one side what we do to the other. So we are going to make sure we're evening out, even though you do want to work your injured ankle. But with these balancing postures and stuff, we do want to still, work the other side just to make everything feel balanced and even. So we're going to start with our not injured foot, just to get an idea of what it is that we're doing. So we're going to come into a balancing pose here. So almost like our tree pose, we're going to start to bring our weight into that uninjured foot, lifting up the injured one. You can start to try and flex the toes back towards you. If that's too sore, you can just leave the foot limp kind of, and just bringing the knee up in front of you. And just noticing here, as you do in your tree pose, how the ankle moves here. There are stabilizers naturally in your ankles and your feet, and this is what's moving here. So if you notice that it is just tiny movements, corrections that your ankle naturally makes, you want to think of that when you are trying to do a balancing pose. So instead of going, whoa, I'm falling that way, whoa, I'm falling that way, you want to make little tiny corrections, as always, so that you're not really throwing yourself off balance. So if you feel like you're starting to go a little bit one way, just like a minor move back the other way. Press down into that foot so that you can grow up tall, grow through the top of the head. You can have the arms out wide here, eyes can stay open. And then releasing that injured foot back down. Now we're going to try that on the injured side. So again, if you're worried about your balance, please grab onto a chair or something like that. So you're going to start to move your weight into that foot. Notice first if that's something that is possible for you today. If you're not able to really spread your toes out, balancing might be really hard for you. That's totally okay. You can fully hold onto a chair here and just come up a tiny bit just to get a little bit of that firing going where your ankle is trying to stabilize naturally. So pressing down into that bottom foot and lifting up the other side, noticing if the ankle is moving, making tiny corrections here, pressing down through that foot, Rising up tall. You can open the arms out to the sides. Again, keeping the eyes open this time. And then releasing that uninjured foot down. We're gonna do the same again, but we're gonna close our eyes. So like every day, balance can be different, injured ankle or not. I have terrible balance sometimes, especially in here with the fan going, because it causes a bit of a motion behind my eyelids. So you may just fall right over. Just have fun with it. If you're worried about falling out off of your uninjured foot and landing weird on your injured foot, again, make sure you're holding on to something. So be very careful. If you're feeling like you're not comfortable closing your eyes, don't close them. So we're gonna start with our eyes open, coming up onto the uninjured foot. And you can open the arms out wide for balance, and then just play with closing down the eyes. Find yourself really stable first, and then close down the eyes. Try and focus on the foot and where the foot is moving. Draw your attention to the ankle. There I go. Just try it for a second, then you can come back down, and then we're gonna try it on the injured foot. So again, notice if this is too painful for you. If you feel like you're rocking a lot, that's totally fine. You can keep your eyes open. So raising that foot up, opening the arms out wide, getting really stable here. And when you feel like you might be ready, if you would like to, you can close down the eyes. This is really hard. And just come to it with a bit of fun, you guys. I mean, obviously an injury sucks. It's annoying. It can cause, you to not be able to do anything and that kind of stuff. But I mean, try to come to it with a little bit of fun. You're still, moving your body and that kind of thing. We try to laugh about these things, right? I mean, only me can step off their bottom stair and just have their foot under them when they land, right? God. So we're now gonna move into a strengthening pose. So while we're standing here, we're going to move our injured foot forward just slightly and just begin to press that foot into the floor, almost like you're trying to press the floor away, or almost as if you want to lift your hip. So just really pressing down. You could even just come to your full body weight again. You can balance again if you'd like. Just to really getting the idea of holding your weight on that ankle. And then coming back, we'll do a tiny bit on the other side just to even it out. So just leaning forward into that foot, pressing down, feeling your toes pressing down. Not hyperextending in the knee, so keeping a tiny bend in the knee if you have hypermobility. And coming back. And we are going to do a little bit of a squat here just to see how it feels in that front portion of the ankle when you are bending the knee over it. So just a little one here. Try and make sure that the knees don't come in. So try and track the knees out towards the pinky toes, and just slowly, this is where I feel it, starting to come down into a little bit of a squat. You can bring the hands to the knees if that's more comfortable. Just noticing where you start to feel like you're very stiff and you can't go any further, or noticing if there's a lot of pain. For me, it more so feels stiff, but there is the last little pocket of swelling that I have is right on top of my ankle, so I find bending it is a little bit hard. And just straightening back up, and we're gonna come down to sit on the floor. So if you'd like a pillow to sit on, you can grab that. And come to a wall or a very heavy piece of furniture. So just gracefully come into the floor. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna place your foot flat up against this piece of furniture or the wall, the injured foot, and just begin to press. Oh, this isn't heavy enough for my leg. That's okay. Just start to press against it as if it's not going to move. I'm gonna pull against it as well. A wall would probably be more ideal because that is not going to move. So just press, 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 and then release. You can do that on the other side just to even out a little bit. So pressing that foot up against that unmoving object, press, 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 and release. Okay, now we are going to move away from that wall. I'm gonna come back into the middle here. Oh God, everything takes longer when you're injured too. So we are going to do a couple of little standard moves. We're gonna move into some pointing and flexing. So keeping the legs straight here. You can do whatever with your other leg. I'm just folding mine up to get out of the way. I'm gonna put this under my heel. This isn't because of the injury. My floors are very hard. So they kind of kill my heels a little bit. So we are going to begin to press the heel forward and flex the toes back towards the face. And just noticing here where it feels like you have to stop. The way that I fell on my ankle was this way. So for me, it's these outside toes. When I specifically move those ones back, that's when I feel like a little jolt of like, oh, whereas my big toe is fine. My big toe can do whatever it wants. So just observe that and just notice how it feels. And just seeing, like with me, like I mentioned, I can feel it now when I flex very hard. It's a little bit of pain, but it more so feels like very, very stiff. And like when you first wake up in the morning and you're trying to point and flex your ankles and they feel a little like, oh, like I need to get them moving. It's that kind of a feeling. So just observe what is going on with you. And then we're gonna try and point. That hurts on both sides. Only go as far as you need to, because I find this painful on almost, it feels like my bones on both ankles. Both ankle bones, not both ankles. So I'm not gonna go too far. And just moving slowly back and forth. Doing a couple flexes, a couple points, holding them for a couple seconds each. Ooh, it's unpleasant, but kind of nice at the same time because it almost feels like you're working out a knot a little bit. And just making sure you're breathing as well. When pain happens, obviously the parasympathetic nervous system wants to switch on, the fight or flight or freeze pops up and it's like, oh, pain, this isn't good, what do I do, how do I get out of here? So breathing in and out through the nose can help with that and calming that system down, just so that your body knows like it's okay, we can be calm here. And maybe, you know, sit with the pain a little bit. It's very, very common, especially in the westernized world, to fix every ailment and anything that's wrong, give it medication, give it something, like we need to fix this, we can't be in pain ever. And while pain is awful and you don't want to live with it and you don't have to live with it for most of us, it's, you know, something that we all will probably experience in some way, shape, or form throughout our entire life. So if you can get comfortable kind of pushing the edge, observing your pain as you do with your emotions, you know, you sit with the feelings, you notice what's going on. Just observing all of that and seeing what you can handle. Of course, as usual, not doing anything that's gonna really, really injure you, not pushing too far. If you notice like that is really hurting, back off a little bit. There's no need, you don't need to be a hero here. So just doing one more flex and one more point. Ooh. Now we are going to do a very popular rehab thing. We are going to write the alphabet with our injured foot. So sitting however you want, comfortably. We're gonna hold on, I'm gonna hold on behind my knee, whatever's comfortable for you. If you want this to be an ab exercise, you can totally go ahead and do it hands-free. I'm not trying to work anything right now. It's enough for me to be working my ankle. So just writing the alphabet, we're gonna do all caps. So we're starting with A, just writing with your toe. And going slowly here, B. Noticing where it sticks kind of. C, D, and this is good for the mobility, strengthening, and stretching. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, almost there. W, X, Y, and Z and or Z. Well done. You can also write your name. I do that probably about once a day just to kind of feel where I'm at. The C's and the O's, again, with the way that I hurt my foot, was kind of sickled in. There's a term for it, but I can't think of it right now. You're probably screaming at me right now. But the way when I turn my foot that way with the C's and the O's, that's when I feel it a lot on that outside of that ankle. So just kind of move it around. You really want to get a lot of motion was what I was trying to say at the same time. Almost came out real weird. So we're going to do a quick stretch to stretch out the Achilles tendon and the calf. I don't have a strap with me. I forgot to bring one. You can also do this with a towel. I'm just going to use my hands because my hamstrings are long enough and I am warmed up because I was doing a couple of things before this. But please make sure you're warmed up so that you're not stretching too far into the hamstring. So grab a towel or a blanket. You can just kind of wrap it around the end of your foot, or if you have a strap with you, you can use that as well. So just reaching up and wrapping the strap or blanket around the ball of your foot, because we want to really feel into our Achilles tendon. It's very important to stretch out the Achilles tendon after you've sprained the ankle. The reason why it can feel very painful and stiff is because it does stiffen up quite quickly once you've injured the muscles. They want to heal, and they potentially will heal very tight, which is why with a sprain, a lot of the time you actually do want to be using it, as long as there's nothing broken and there's no ligaments torn and that kind of thing. You do actually want to be trying to use it. So this is to kind of break up any scar tissue that's trying to form and anything like that. So we're going to try and stretch into our Achilles tendon first. So if you come up higher, almost onto the toes here, the higher on your foot is where it's going to stretch into that Achilles tendon. Again, notice if that's too painful across the top here, and then don't do it if it's too painful. Try every day, try to write the alphabet, do something like that. I've really got to get into mine. Ooh, yeah, so you feel that stretch in the Achilles tendon up the calf, and just sit with that for a minute. Feeling that stretching out. Breathing. And letting that go, because that is a nice stretch. We're going to do that on both sides, just to make sure we're stretched out nice on both. So just stretching out that other uninjured foot and pulling the toes back towards the face, feeling that in the Achilles tendon, calf, hamstring. Breathing through that stretch. And letting that go. Okay, so now we're just going to do a tiny little kind of foot massage here. It's also very good with moving the foot and using it and stuff. To kind of massage it around. It can hurt. Again, you only know your body. And again, I'm not a medical professional, so make sure that you are cleared to do this. But if it's not something that is killer pain and it's just kind of ooh, yeah, that's where it hurts, it's okay to still kind of massage in there, because you do want to get the blood flow and the motion in the injured area. So I'm going to start around my toes. I just like to kind of come up the top here. And this isn't so bad on the top. I have to sneeze. Heavens. Yoo-hoo! Are you awake? So massaging the top of that foot. And then I'm going to come around to the side here. And just swiping with my thumb up the side of the foot. This can also help if you have a lot of bruising. It can kind of break up all that old blood. And then I just come up and around the ankle joint. So just seeing where it feels the best for you. And when I say best, I do say that loosely. I'm just going to come up the top here. Best could be a little bit of pain, but as long as it's not pain in a way that you feel like you're hurting yourself or it's just too much to handle, then it can be okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. I'm just gonna turn my foot like this. So along the side here is where I have a lot of bruising because that's the way that I fell on my ankle. The way that my doctor explained it to me is that you get this kind of line along the bottom part of your foot, and that's because the blood that may have been caused from any internal issues with the trauma on the ankle will pool at the bottom of your foot there. So that's why you'll typically see that dark line, and then all up here is all yellow. You can't see it, I'm sure, from there on my foot, so I won't bother showing you, but it's hideous. So just know if you've sprained your ankle, we're all in this together. We're all hideous together. So I have a little pokey outy bone on the side of my foot that's a little bit sore too, because I fell right on the side of my foot, the whole side of my foot. Whew. And she's not a teeny tiny girl, you know what I mean? So that was a lot, landing on one little foot. So I'm rubbing around that bone as well. I don't like to rub straight on the bones. It doesn't feel great. There is a little bit of soreness there, but I don't think it's great to rub right on the bone, but see what feels good for you. Just coming up the side here, and then again, I'm gonna go on either side of the ankle bone. Ooh, that's where mine is. So mine is right up as I come up the front of the ankle bone here. I can see that it's still a little bit puffy right up into the front here. And you could also bring the massage a little bit up into your shin and your calf, because obviously the trauma isn't only here, even though this is what you fell on. Like all up here was bruised for me as well. I didn't land on it, but it was just because of the serious stretch that happened to my muscle on that side of my foot and stuff. So just massaging that out. Ooh. Feels so awful on that one spot. Ugh. I can tell it's good though, so that's why I'm doing it, but ugh. Feels a little nasty. And you can do this before bed. I have some BioFreeze, which I found really nice because I didn't want to bring ice packs into my bed and have my bed get all wet. So I would massage some BioFreeze onto my foot right before bed every night. And obviously elevation is very good. I've sort of stopped elevating mine at this point just because the swelling has pretty much gone down. I still ice mine a little bit. But again, see what's good for you, see what's comfortable for you. Woo. Oh, okay. So once that's done, I like to give it a little bit of a flex and point, and then we're gonna slow and careful, just give it a couple of rotations in one direction. And in the other, and try and give the toes a little bit of a wiggle as well. I've been kind of avoiding really lifting my toes just because that's what was hurting initially. So try and get some movement all throughout the foot. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are gonna go ahead and lay down for our Shavasana. So if you would like, you can grab a pack of ice. I'm gonna put some ice on my foot. If you are still in a stage where you have a lot of swelling, you can elevate your foot a little bit. You can put a little pillow there for that foot. Otherwise, you can just take your Shavasana like normal. It's totally fine as well. If you would like to get more of a lymphatic drainage, you can do legs up the wall. That could be really nice for the ankle as well. So just come into that really comfortable position that you want to be in for your Shavasana. Okay, so just coming down onto the ground. You can extend the feet out long. If you'd like to have your feet up, you can do that. This is gonna fall off my way down, isn't it? Just as graceful as usual. Rolling the shoulder blades under, tucking the tailbone, and tucking the chin slightly so that the flat of your skull is on the ground. Just releasing down. We didn't do too much today, but when there's an injury involved, it's kind of slow going getting back into things, and that's totally okay. So you may be rearing to go and really wanting to get back into activity and motion. Just knowing that injuries are the body's way of telling us to slow down, forcing us to slow down. And you really want to make sure that you listen to what your body's telling you. There's no point pushing yourself to do something if it's just gonna cause further injury. So just feeling still here, feeling good about the work you just did to help relieve any injury that you have. Knowing that you did enough, you're doing enough. The most important thing is to take care of yourself here. That's the only way that you can heal. So letting go of that idea that you have to bounce back immediately. Just accepting yourself for being human. Dropping down. Slowing down the breath. And just observing that breath as it flows in and out. And noticing every time that your mind wanders off. Just acknowledging that without judgment. And bringing it back to the breath. There's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that you need to plan. You only have a few short minutes left here, so just letting yourself be here now. Being present. And letting go.
minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I know this room and I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch. And love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Allowing small movements to come into the fingers and the toe. Perhaps stretching the arms up overhead. A big stretch. And when you're ready, bringing the knees up to the body and rolling over so that your injured foot is the one that's on top. Coming into the fetal position. You can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Just rest here for a moment. And when you feel ready, just pressing yourself up, coming to a comfortable seat. You can pop your foot out if that's more comfortable. Finding a truly comfortable seat here. This does not need to be cross-legged. Hands come to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Perhaps you lay the hands flat on the chest. You feel the beating of the heart. Gently bowing the head. Taking a moment to thank yourself for taking time out of your day to look after yourself. Taking a moment to thank your body for everything that it does for you. Perhaps you've been feeling some frustration with the body, with this injury that's happening. Just taking a moment to express your gratitude for yourself, for your body. It is healing, however quickly or slowly. You are only human. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. This is a quick little practice, but it felt very relevant, at least for me. So hopefully it helped someone out there. Please like this video if you enjoyed this practice. Comment down below and let me know what you enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram at Harmonious Hippy. Send me pictures of your bruised up feet. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I love to look at nasty things like that. I hope you are all doing well despite this injury, and just know that your body is working towards healing. We are all working towards healing. And I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much. Namaste.